My friends, have you ever felt a sudden rush of motivation? Maybe after watching an inspiring video, reading a powerful quote, or listening to someone who lit a spark inside you. In that moment, you felt unstoppable. But then, a few days later, that fire faded away. You didn't feel like waking up early, working hard, or sticking to your plans. Why does that happen? Because motivation is like a spark. It lights you up for a moment, but it doesn't keep you warm through the night. Discipline, however, is the steady fire that never dies. Motivation inspires us to start. Discipline empowers us to continue. Motivation says, I feel like doing it. Discipline says, I'll do it, even when I don't feel like it. That's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Let's imagine a farmer. Every morning before sunrise, he goes to his field. There are days he's tired, days it rains, days it's too cold, but he goes anyway. Because the crop will not grow from motivation, it grows from consistency. In the same way, our success, our peace, our health, our relationships, everything blossoms through daily discipline. Motivation is temporary, discipline is permanent. When we feel motivated, it's like the sun shining brightly after a long rainy day. It lifts our spirits, fills us with energy, and gives us hope. But just as the sun sets, motivation too fades away. It's an emotion, and emotions are never stable. One day you feel unstoppable, ready to conquer the world. And the next day you can't even get out of bed. That's the problem with depending only on motivation. It's a mood, not a method. Discipline, on the other hand, is the quiet, consistent force that keeps you moving forward, whether the day is sunny or stormy. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you decide to do. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal because you felt inspired? Maybe you promised yourself to start exercising, read more books, or wake up early. The first few days went great because motivation was pushing you. But soon, the excitement wore off, and suddenly, you found yourself skipping one day, then another, until the habit was gone. That's not failure, it's human nature. We're emotional beings. But that's exactly why discipline is so powerful. It's not dependent on emotions. It's built on commitment. Discipline doesn't ask, do I feel like it today? It simply acts. It's the soldier who wakes up before dawn, not because he's excited every day, but because he made a promise to his duty, to his purpose. It's the athlete who trains even when no one is watching. It's the student who studies while others scroll through social media. Discipline doesn't need applause, it needs direction. It knows that progress isn't made in one big leap, but in the small, often boring steps that no one sees. Motivation gives you the spark to begin, but discipline builds the fire that keeps burning. If you rely only on motivation, your life will move in bursts, up and down, forward and backward. But if you live with discipline, your life moves steadily forward. The difference between an amateur and a master is not talent, it's consistency. The master shows up every day, even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. Let's take a simple example. A writer who waits for motivation to strike will rarely finish a book. But a disciplined writer who writes 2 pages every day, no matter what, will finish it in time. A person who feels motivated to eat healthy might do it for a week. But a disciplined person who sticks to their plan will see results months later. Discipline is not glamorous. It's often repetitive, even dull. But that's where greatness is born. Motivation is like sugar. It gives you a quick rush, but it fades fast. Discipline is like nutrition. It builds you from the inside, slowly but surely. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you going long after motivation is gone. The truth is, anyone can be motivated for a moment, but only the disciplined stay committed for a lifetime. So, when the feeling fades, and it will, don't stop. Keep showing up. Keep doing the work. Because the people who reach their dreams are not the ones who were always motivated. They're the ones who stayed disciplined, even when they weren't. Motivation may light the path, but discipline makes you walk it. One determined step at a time. Motivation helps you start, but discipline helps you finish. The beginning of any journey is exciting. There's an energy that comes with new beginnings. The thrill of setting goals, imagining success, and feeling inspired by what could be. Motivation gives us that first push, that emotional spark that says, let's do this. But starting is not the hard part. Continuing is. That's where discipline becomes the real hero. Motivation gets you on the road, but discipline makes sure you reach the destination. Imagine someone deciding to run a marathon. In the first day, they are filled with enthusiasm. They buy new running shoes, plan their schedule, and wake up early. The excitement of a new challenge drives them forward. But a few weeks later, when their legs ache, when it rains, when they feel tired or demotivated, that's when motivation disappears. It's easy to begin when everything feels new and exciting. It's much harder to persist when the novelty wears off. Discipline steps in exactly at that point. It whispers, you made a promise to yourself. Keep going. That quiet voice of commitment is what separates those who give up from those who grow. Every great success story is built on discipline. A student might feel motivated at the start of the semester, but when exams approach and distractions multiply, only discipline keeps them studying. A business owner might begin their journey with big dreams, but when challenges appear, financial struggles, failures, criticism, it's discipline that keeps them focused. The truth is, life will always test your commitment. And during those tests, motivation often vanishes. Discipline becomes your only strength, your anchor, when everything else feels uncertain. Motivation relies on emotion, and emotions fluctuate. Some mornings, you'll wake up feeling inspired, and other days, you'll feel drained or disinterested. If you wait for motivation to return before taking action, you'll lose valuable time and momentum. But discipline doesn't wait for the right mood. It doesn't need permission from your emotions. It simply says, let's do what needs to be done. And when you act despite not feeling like it, something magical happens. You create momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence creates progress. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece. The first few strokes might come from excitement, but the true beauty of the artwork is formed through long hours of focus, patience, and repetition. The same principle applies to every part of life: health, relationships, career, or personal growth. The glow of motivation may fade, but the steady rhythm of discipline keeps you moving even in the dark. Discipline transforms temporary effort into lasting habit. What starts as a conscious act eventually becomes second nature. You no longer need to force yourself to wake up early, to read, to practice, or to work hard. It becomes part of who you are. That's when you no longer depend on motivation, because you've built a lifestyle rooted in discipline. So yes, motivation gives you a powerful start. It's the wind in your sails. But that wind won't last forever. The waves will rise, the sea will test you, and the sky will not always be clear. In those moments, discipline becomes your compass. It guides you forward, step by step, even when you can't see the shore. Because in the end, it's not the one who starts fast that wins. It's the one who keeps going, no matter how tough the journey becomes. Discipline is doing what's right even when you don't feel like it. Every one of us has days when we simply don't want to move, when we'd rather stay in bed, avoid responsibilities, and take the easy path. It's normal to feel tired or uninspired. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary is the ability to act beyond feelings. Discipline doesn't rely on your emotions, it relies on your decisions. It's about choosing consistency over comfort, purpose over pleasure, and progress over excuses. When you live with discipline, you stop asking yourself, do I feel like doing this? Instead, you ask, is this the right thing to do? The truth is, feelings are unpredictable. One day, I flew for full of energy and excitement. The next, you feel lazy and distracted. If your actions depend on how you feel, your life will always swing between productivity and procrastination. Discipline provides balance. It reminds you that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, always brings lasting satisfaction. It's not about forcing yourself harshly. It's about training your mind to follow your values, not your moods. Take a look at anyone who has achieved mastery: athletes, artists, thinkers, or leaders. They all share one trait. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. The athlete wakes up before dawn to train, not because it's comfortable, but because the goal matters more than the feeling. The musician practices scales for hours, not because it's exciting, but because skill demands repetition. The entrepreneur keeps working through setbacks, not because it's fun, but because giving up would betray their vision. Discipline gives you strength when feelings fail you. Let's imagine a simple example. A student preparing for exams. Motivation might help them study for a few days, but when fatigue or boredom sets in, the temptation to quit becomes strong. Discipline, however, keeps them at the desk. It tells them, you don't have to like it now. You'll love the result later. That's the secret. Discipline delays pleasure for a greater reward. It's the art of choosing what you want most over what you want now. In the doing what's right when you don't feel like it also builds self-respect. Every time you overcome laziness or distraction, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses. That builds confidence, not the kind that comes from praise or success, but from integrity. You begin to trust yourself. You learn that your word means something, that your actions match your intentions, and that inner trust becomes the foundation for everything else you achieve. Of course, it's not easy. There will be moments when your mind whispers, just skip it once. It won't matter, but it always matters. Because every small choice shapes your identity. Each time you choose discipline over comfort, you're building the person you want to become. Success isn't one big moment. It's a collection of thousands of small moments where you choose to act despite not wanting to. Life doesn't always give you ideal conditions. There will be pain, exhaustion, and doubt but discipline is the bridge that carries you through those storms. It doesn't erase discomfort. It gives it purpose. When you do what's right even when you don't feel like it, you grow beyond your emotions. You become stronger, wiser, and unstoppable, not because you always feel great, but because you've learned that feelings come and go, while discipline stays forever. Small, consistent steps beat big, inconsistent bursts. We often dream of success as a single grand achievement, a sudden breakthrough, a magical moment when everything changes. But life doesn't work that way. Success is not a lightning strike. It's a sunrise that slowly brightens the world with every passing minute. Real growth happens in the quiet, unnoticed moments when you choose to stay consistent. Taking small steps every day may seem insignificant, but over time, they build unshakable momentum. Discipline in small actions creates great transformation. When you try to do everything at once, you burn out quickly. Think about someone who decides to get fit and starts with extreme workouts or strict diets. They might see results for a week, but soon exhaustion takes over. They lose motivation, skip a few days, and eventually quit. On the other hand, someone who starts small, maybe just a short walk daily or a few push-ups, builds a habit. Over time, that small effort becomes part of their routine. What once felt hard becomes easy, and soon they're doing more without even realizing it. The first person relied on intensity. The second relied on consistency. And in the long run, consistency always wins. This principle applies to every part of life. A writer who writes just 1 page a day will have a complete book in a few months. A student who studies for an hour daily will master subjects that others cram for in panic. A person who saves a small amount regularly will build wealth while others chase get rich quick schemes. Small steps seem too simple to matter, but that's their power. They're sustainable. You can repeat them, even on bad days, because they don't overwhelm you. Discipline is not about doing something massive. It's about doing something meaningful repeatedly. Every time you show up, you strengthen your habit, and habits are what shape your destiny. When you commit to small actions daily, you're teaching your brain that progress is part of your identity. Soon, you no longer need willpower to continue. It becomes natural. The effort that once required discipline becomes effortless. Many people wait for perfect conditions to take big steps, but perfection never comes. The secret is to start where you are, with what you have, and take one step today. Those small steps compound over time, just like a drop of water carving stone. Consistent effort shapes success in silence. You may not notice the difference day by day, but one day you look back and realize how far you've come. Even nature teaches us this truth. Trees don't grow overnight. They grow quietly, inch by inch, day after day. Yet one day, they stand tall and unshakable. The same is true for people. Those who commit to daily progress, however small, eventually achieve greatness. The path of steady growth might seem slow, but it's sure. Quick bursts of effort often create quick burnout, but small, consistent steps create lasting change. So, whether your goal is to learn, grow, heal, or succeed, remember this: you don't have to do everything today. Just do something. One small step forward every day is more powerful than 100 steps that stop halfway. Over time, those tiny efforts become a mountain of achievement. It's not about how fast you move. It's about never stopping. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates freedom. At first, that might sound strange. How can structure, which seems restrictive, lead to freedom? Yet, if you look closely, every truly free person is disciplined. A musician has the freedom to express emotions through beautiful melodies only because they practice scales for years. A dancer moves gracefully on stage because of countless hours of disciplined rehearsal. A successful person manages their time, emotions, and actions within a structure that allows them to live life on their own terms. Without discipline, life becomes chaotic, and chaos never leads to freedom. It leads to frustration. When you live without structure, your days control you instead of you controlling your days. You wake up without a plan, react to situations, and waste time deciding what to do next. You might feel free, but that freedom is deceptive because it lacks direction. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's the ability to do what's truly important, whenever it needs to be done. Discipline provides that ability. It's like building a solid foundation for your house. Once it's in place, you can design, decorate, and live safely within it. Without that foundation, everything collapses at the first sign of pressure. Structure gives you stability. It creates order in your mind, helping you manage your time, your focus, and your priorities. When you plan your day and stick to a routine, you don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You simply follow through. That mental clarity frees your mind to think creatively and live intentionally. Imagine a river. If it flows freely in every direction, it becomes a flood and destroys everything. But if it flows within boundaries, it gains strength and direction, providing power and life. That's exactly how discipline works. It channels your energy, giving your potential purpose. Freedom without discipline leads to regret. Think of someone who spends money recklessly, eats whatever they want, or neglects their responsibilities. At first, it feels liberating, but soon, the consequences catch up: debt, poor health, or missed opportunities. On the other hand, a person who practices financial discipline, who eats with control, who manages time wisely, may seem restricted in the moment, but they live without stress later. That's real freedom. The freedom from guilt, from anxiety, from chaos. Discipline doesn't mean being rigid, it means being responsible. It's not about limiting your life, it's about guiding it. Structure doesn't imprison creativity, it protects it. When your life has order, you have space to dream, rest, and grow without falling into disorder. A disciplined mind knows when to work and when to relax. It knows when to speak and when to stay silent. It knows when to spend and when to save. This balance is what creates peace, the truest form of freedom. Discipline transforms time into opportunity. When you follow structure, your energy is not scattered but focused. You achieve more with less effort because every action aligns with purpose. Slowly, you begin to realize that discipline is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. It gives you control over yourself, and self-control is the highest form of freedom. The person who cannot control their impulses, desires, or habits becomes a prisoner of them. But the one who lives with discipline, choosing wisely, acting consistently, and thinking clearly, lives with dignity, peace, and true independence. So, while others may see discipline as restriction, the wise see it as liberation. Because structure doesn't take freedom away, it gives it form, direction, and lasting joy. Discipline turns dreams into reality. Every dream begins in the mind. A vision of something greater, something meaningful, something beautiful that we wish to create or become. But dreaming alone changes nothing. The world is full of dreamers who never moved beyond imagination. What separates those who only dream from those who live their dreams is not luck, not talent, and not opportunity. It's discipline. Discipline transforms ideas into action and action into achievement. Without it, even the most powerful vision remains just a fantasy floating in your mind. Dreams give you direction, but discipline gives you motion. You may know exactly what you want in life, but without consistent effort, that vision will slowly fade. Discipline is the bridge that connects your someday to your today. It takes courage to dream big, but it takes commitment to chase that dream every single day, especially when progress feels slow or invisible. Every step forward, no matter how small, matters. Because dreams are not achieved in one giant leap. They're built brick by brick through small acts of discipline repeated over time. Think about an architect. Before any building stands tall, there's a vision on paper. But that vision doesn't become a reality just by imagining it. It requires labor, patience, and precision. Workers must show up every day, even when the weather is harsh or progress seems minimal. Slowly, structure takes shape. That's exactly how dreams work. You may not see results immediately, but discipline ensures that one day your inner vision stands firm in the real world. Discipline gives strength to your passion. Passion makes you start, but it can fade when life gets hard. Discipline carries the flame when passion flickers. There will be moments when your dream feels too far, when obstacles seem too great, and when you question your path. In those moments, motivation won't save you, discipline will. It will remind you of your why and push you to keep going even when you don't feel inspired. Every great artist, athlete, and leader knows this truth. Their success wasn't born from occasional bursts of motivation, but from the daily grind that no one saw. Discipline also gives clarity. When you live with discipline, you learn to prioritize what matters most and let go of distractions. You stop chasing instant gratification and focus on long-term fulfillment. The dream becomes not just something you wish for, but something you work toward with every decision. Every habit and every hour you invest, it turns your I hope into I will. The beauty of discipline is that it multiplies your effort. The more you practice it, the more capable and confident you become. You begin to trust yourself because you know you'll follow through, no matter how you feel. That trust builds momentum, and that momentum turns into achievement. Over time, the dream that once seemed distant becomes part of your reality. Every masterpiece in the world began as a dream, but only through the discipline of daily action did it come alive. Dreams are the seeds, but discipline is the water, sunlight, and care that make them grow. So, if you truly want to see your dreams come true, don't just wish for them, work for them consistently and faithfully. Because discipline doesn't just chase dreams, it builds them, one deliberate step at a time. Motivation fades when challenges rise, but discipline strengthens under pressure. It's easy to stay committed when everything is going well, when the road is smooth, the sky is clear, and the results are visible. But life doesn't stay that way for long. Challenges come, obstacles appear, and sometimes it feels like the world is testing your resolve. In those moments, motivation tends to vanish. The excitement you once had disappears, replaced by doubt, fatigue, and fear. That's where discipline steps in. Not as a burst of emotion, but as a steady voice that says, keep going. Discipline doesn't depend on how easy the path is. It thrives precisely because the path is hard. When challenges arise, most people look for comfort. They say, maybe this isn't meant for me. But those who are disciplined see challenges differently. They understand that growth is uncomfortable and that pressure doesn't destroy you. It refines you. Motivation reacts to difficulty by retreating, but discipline faces it head on. It doesn't wait for ideal conditions, it adapts and persists. Like a muscle, discipline grows stronger with resistance. The more you face discomfort with consistency, the more resilience you build. Think about climbing a mountain. At the base, everyone feels motivated. The air is fresh, the energy is high, and the view looks promising. But as the climb gets steep, oxygen thins, and exhaustion sets in. That's when most people give up. Yet, the climber with discipline keeps going one step at a time, even when every step burns. They don't rely on the thrill of the start. They rely on the power of commitment. When they finally reach the peak, it's not motivation that brought them there. It's discipline, perseverance, and the will to continue when everything inside them screamed to stop. Discipline transforms pressure into progress. Challenges become opportunities to prove your consistency. When life gets tough, discipline keeps your actions aligned with your goals, even when your emotions want to escape. It teaches you emotional stability, the ability to stay grounded amid chaos. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding intentionally. Each time you stay disciplined through hardship, you build inner strength and mental toughness that no challenge can break. In difficult times, motivation often whispers, "It's too hard," but discipline replies, "Do it anyway." That's the difference between people who only dream and those who actually achieve. The disciplined don't quit when things get uncomfortable. They see discomfort as part of the journey. They know that storms don't last forever and that persistence always leads to reward. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a stepping stone. And every obstacle becomes proof of endurance. Even nature teaches this lesson. A seed buried underground doesn't grow in comfort. It pushes through soil darkness and resistance to reach the light. Without that struggle, it would never become a tree. Similarly, human potential unfolds under pressure. Discipline is what allows us to push through that darkness, to believe that light still exists even when we can't see it. Motivation may start the journey, but discipline finishes it. Motivation is loud and emotional. Discipline is quiet and steady. When life gets hard, the motivated might hesitate, but the disciplined keep walking. They understand that every trial strengthens their spirit, and every moment of perseverance brings them closer to victory. So when the challenges rise, and they always will, remember this: motivation might give you the reason, but discipline will give you the result. Discipline builds character. Character is not formed in moments of comfort or ease. It's shaped in moments of challenge, sacrifice, and consistency. It's the sum of the choices we make when no one is watching. Motivation may guide our emotions, but discipline defines who we truly are. It's the inner strength that pushes us to do what's right, even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unnoticed. When you live a disciplined life, you're not just achieving goals, you're building the person capable of sustaining those goals. Discipline molds your thoughts, strengthens your will, and refines your behavior until it becomes part of your identity. Every small act of discipline contributes to character development. When you choose to wake up early instead of sleeping in, when you decide to stay calm instead of reacting in anger, when you keep a promise even when it's hard, these small decisions carve your character. Character isn't built overnight. It's formed through daily habits, shaped by consistent effort and the choices you make again and again. Discipline teaches you patience, endurance, and self-control, all essential qualities of a strong character. Without discipline, emotions lead, impulses dominate, and values weaken. But with discipline, your actions align with your principles, and your life reflects integrity. Character is about who you are when life tests you. Anyone can stay positive when things go right. But what about when everything falls apart? The disciplined person doesn't lose themselves in chaos. They stay true to their values. They keep working, keep believing, and keep striving. Discipline builds the strength to remain steady in unstable times. It turns frustration into focus and temptation into training. Through every trial, it whispers, stay grounded, stay honest, stay committed. Discipline also teaches humility. It reminds you that greatness isn't about shortcuts or applause. It's about doing what's necessary without expecting immediate recognition. When you live with discipline, you learn that growth requires sacrifice and that progress often happens quietly. It humbles the ego and strengthens the spirit. You stop chasing validation from others because discipline gives you validation from within. You no longer need the world to tell you who you are. You prove it to yourself through your actions. Over time, discipline becomes the foundation of trust. Trust from others and trust in yourself. People with strong character are reliable because they are consistent. You can depend on them because they depend on their principles. Their words and actions match. Not just when people are watching, but especially when they aren't. That's the essence of character. It's not about image. It's about integrity. And discipline is what sustains integrity through life's ups and downs. Even failure becomes a tool for building character through discipline. A disciplined person doesn't let setbacks break them. They learn, adjust, and rise again. They don't let success make them arrogant or failure make them bitter. Instead, they maintain balance, knowing that both success and failure are temporary, but character lasts forever. Discipline gives them that steady center, that calm confidence that no storm can shake. In the end, what truly defines a person is not what they achieve, but who they become in the process. Discipline shapes that becoming. It sculpts strength out of struggle, courage out of fear, and honor out of hard work. Every act of self-control, every decision to stay committed, adds another layer to your character. The world may not see the effort, but it will see the result in the way you walk, speak, and live. Discipline is the silent sculptor that turns ordinary people into extraordinary examples of strength and integrity.